We'll begin the news at this hour with the dispute between PENGASSAN and Dangote, where the federal government has weighed in, urging both parties to find a common ground. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Dingyadi, who made this plea, said his ministry has taken steps to bring both parties to a round table to stop their dispute from escalating further. The minister disclosed that invitations have been extended to both the leadership of PENGASSAN and Dangote Refinery management to attend an emergency meeting in his office on Monday for the conciliation of their dispute. Now, the minister called on the leadership of PENGASSAN to withdraw the strike declaration to allow his ministry to consolidate and conciliate the dispute in a peaceful atmosphere. And now to discuss this further, we're joined by Director of Fortrose Consulting, and that's Suraj Oyewale. Mr. Oyewale, it's good to have you join us. Now, what are the immediate impacts of the strike for PENGASSAN on crude oil production volumes and refinery output, particularly at the Dangote Refinery?
Thanks so much. Good afternoon, Judith, and it's nice to talk to you again. I think it's probably important for us to look at how the industry works first so that we can have an understanding of how these impacts could have effect on the industry and the economy as a whole. When we talk about oil production, we're talking about the upstream part of the industry, which Dangote is not part of, and not being an oil producer. The guys, the international oil companies, the independents that that operate in that industry that differ from Dangote. Then we have Dangote, who is a refiner, and refining is a midstream or downstream activity. The PENGASSAN is just one of the many group of staff that are very active in the oil and gas value chain. We have people, management staff, the guys that are even higher than PENGASSAN, and we have the lower cadre staff, the NUPENG, and people who are not even at NUPENG level. And we also have people who are not part of any association and all of this, the foreigners, the Indians, and all of these other guys that work in this. So there are a lot of other people that work in the industry, in the value chain. So I do not expect there to be any major disruption to activities in the immediate term. And so I expect that while the resolution is being championed by the Minister of Labour, we heard that there's going to be a meeting today. While that is going on, I don't think there should be a major disruption to activities in the refinery to affect volume of production or products refined in the immediate term.
Now, amid a labor strike of this, scale, what do you anticipate in terms of contingency and redundancy systems, typically that would put in place to maintain the refinery operations? Although you said that that you don't see any sort of low output regarding refining, but there's a labor strike that's ongoing. What are the contingency plans or systems you think would be in place to maintain operations by the refinery?
Yeah, strike is not the only activity that leads to downtime. That could potentially lead to downtime. But the plant of the size of Dangote will have had in place other activities, not just for strike. There are some other maintenance and even maybe some sabotage to the source, to the source of supply. So other things that could affect the flow of the crude or the product in the value chain. So I would have expected a plant of Dangote size to have sufficient stock of both output and inputs. Output in terms of the fuel, the PMS, the DPK, the AGO, the HHK, the products to be supplied in the next maybe 2 to 3 weeks, no matter the downtime. Then the upstream feedstock to the crude oil should have some level of storage. So I believe this, once they activate these plans, I believe that things should not be majorly impacted from once they activate this contingency plan, then I don't think there should be a major disruption in the short term.
Right. As we're looking, with you saying that you don't see any changes and seeing that they might have planned ahead, short term, and that means that for now we may not see any noticeable effects on local fuel prices or refined product availability in the domestic market for now. But long term, if this meeting doesn't hold Monday, or if this meeting, there's no headway from this meeting, giving the Ministry of Employment coming in to step in, what's going to happen foreseeable? We're not predicting the futures, but what could be the outcome if there is no headway from the meeting today?
Okay, if there is no headway for the meeting today, and the matter stretches to a week, 2 weeks, and maybe 3 weeks, I think there is more panic in the whole system, because the supply, at some point the refinery is going to exhaust all the stock it has in place, and when the staff that are meant to put this in order are not available, and then the effect is that we are talking about 200 staff that are affected in Dangote Refinery itself. Then I expect that to be some effect, and ultimately this might impact the prices in the medium to longer term. When we talk about the fact that when the current stock is exhausted, then we can expect to see some prices some change in prices. But whatever change we see in the immediate term is not going to result. It's not going to be as a result of this PENGASSAN Dangote impact. Rather, it could, because other things, there are a lot of other things that determine the prices, of crude, supply, the other components, the effects, and all these other things that affect them. So I do not think, this singular factor, will cause any change in prices until, maybe a couple of weeks or even a month.
Now, seeing all that's been going on with Dangote and PENGASSAN, as well as, the minister now weighing in and trying to, come to reconciliation or resolution, right? One has to talk about, what precedents this will set, when it comes to labor regulation or privatization policy in the energy sector going forward. Could this lead to any major changes, especially with, unionization and, labor regulation as it pertains, the private sector or privatization policies?
Okay, first and foremost, the right to unionize is actually enshrined in the Constitution. So, before you can change that, you have to change the Constitution, and we all know that, nobody's going to change the Constitution, just simply to remove a clause or a provision on the right of people to, associate with, whoever they want to associate with, as much as it is legal and legitimate. So I don't expect to see, any change in the Constitution as a result of that. Then in terms of labor practices, one of the reasons people that work in the oil and gas industry are very, very passionate about this is that it's going to set a precedent. You can call it a bad precedent if you are looking at it from the angle of the employees, because the industry is, one of the oil and gas industry is one of the most respected industries in Nigeria. I was in the industry for 14 years. I've been in the situation before. In fact, it's not new. Having issues between PENGASSAN and and employer is not new. I was in this kind of situation 7 years ago in the company I worked, where we wanted to join PENGASSAN, and the management don't want us to join PENGASSAN. At some point, we had some back and forth. At the end of the day, we were able to join PENGASSAN, and it never affected the company negatively. And of course, ours might not be at the scale of Dangote, it might not be a national issue like Dangote, but it's not new for there to be disputes between employers and employees with respect to PENGASSAN. So I don't think there be any. You can't deny people the right to unionize. So any change that is, any attempt to even make changes to the whatever labor laws guide all of this relationship between employers and employee, to deny them the right to unionize, that's why they're going to escalate things. So I don't think the government will be so insensitive to want to go and change law in a way that would, or policy in a way that would prevent people, the right to, the right to form union and demand for whatever they think will make their job easy. So I don't think this is anything novel, or this is anything new in the industry, or in anything that could affect any significant far-reaching policy change in the industry. It's something that happens from time to time, and it's even advanced countries we look forward to. In their own stage of development, we saw all those kind of things. In the UK, for example, a couple of last year or so, there was a strike action by train drivers, union in the UK, and it disrupted the whole activity. Nobody said because of that they were going to, deny the people the right to,
for transportation.
I don't.
Right. Yeah, Suraj, I wish we can continue with the discussion, but I want to say thank you for just taking out the time to join us this afternoon. Suraj Oyewale, he is part of the team, the director for Fortrose Consulting, giving us a bit of insight as the federal government has appealed for a truce meeting between Dangote Refinery's management and PENGASSAN. Thank you again, once again, Suraj.